Hi, my name is Heather Ackles. I'm the Executive Director of INTERalliance of Greater Cincinnati, and today we are going to build your resume. You probably have a lot of questions around your resume. How do I write it? What if I haven't worked before? What's most important? And we're going to tackle several of those items. But at first, it's kind of important to understand what a resume is. Honestly, a resume is not the world's largest brain dump of everything you've ever done. It is a concise document that shows your personal career background and your skills. It's a really great first glimpse into who you are, and it allows that company to determine whether or not you're worth talking to moving forward. Things that every resume absolutely must have: your full name. And I absolutely mean your full name. So if your name is Heather Ackles, but you go by Heather Marie Ackles, put Heather parentheses Marie Ackles on there, or goes by something so that they know a little bit about you and they can actually contact you. A professional email address. I cannot stress this enough. I just can't. You cannot send a resume with an email address that is ilovechickennuggets@gmail.com. That communicates to the business partner that maybe you're not quite ready for that opportunity and they're going to be looking for someone else. So as much as that sounds crazy, please use something. Typically try a first dot last name or first name, last name, whatever at whatever, just something professional. I'll also highlight that the most important word in that sentence is working. And I'll also add that it's not just working, but it's also frequently checked. There is nothing worse as an employer to get this amazing resume, to get really excited about a candidate, reach out, and there's no response. And from a potential employee side, there's nothing worse than being really excited about an opportunity and then forget to check your email and find out that you were a candidate but got passed over because you weren't following up. Okay? Similar to the email, you need to have a working phone number. Now, one thing that I want to call out is that if you are, maybe for some reason you don't have a phone, that's okay. You don't have your own cell phone number, they're going to call the house, they're going to call your parents' number. You might want to give your parents, your guardians, your siblings, whomever a heads up that you may be receiving professional level phone calls. That way, they don't say something embarrassing like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Heather can't come to the phone right now. She is in the bathroom." Or, "I'm sorry, Heather can't come to the phone right now because she's eating 1,000 chicken nuggets and she's crazy." So just making sure that they're prepared for those conversations, but also make sure that your phone number is working. You give an actual phone number somewhere that someone can get in contact with you. LinkedIn. If you don't know anything about LinkedIn, check my other video about building your personal brand. LinkedIn is just absolutely critical as you're entering a professional style workforce. It's a great way for you to show off some of your skills, get endorsements by others, build your professional network. So definitely include your LinkedIn profile link. And if you don't have one, like I said, work on it. It's important. GitHub. GitHub is great if you are in technology at all. It allows you to upload some of your projects. It allows you to collaborate with other developers. It is used pretty much industry-wide. So if you do have your own GitHub, giving that link shows that you have a lot of extra initiative and you're coding or you're engaging on your own time. So if you have it, add it. If you don't have one, don't create one because an empty GitHub is just as bad. So actually worse, just don't create it. Any of your experience. Now, experience is a little questionable sometimes, right? Because this could be your first official professional job, and that is okay. Everybody starts somewhere. So feel free to list any paid experience that you have, but also volunteer experience, relevant coursework, any leadership positions, club sports, extra activities. If you're mentoring on the side, all of those are really important. However, if you've got a 9-page resume, we'll pare some of that down. So we'll make sure that it is the most important, the most meaningful aspects that are there. Lastly, and certainly not least, your education information. So are you in high school? If so, when do you expect to graduate? Are you in college? If so, when do you expect to graduate? Do you have any special focus? I know that there are some high schools in the area that allow you to pick a career pathway. Are you working through a career pathway? Do you have any certifications? All of that is really, really important. basic rules. Keep it short. One page or close to one page, 2 pages at most. Most of you are 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. There's absolutely no reason that you should have more than a page and a half, 2-page resume. So try to pare it down. Remember, you can always send them back to your LinkedIn to get a larger view of who you are and what you've done. So just keeping it short. No one wants to read a dissertation. Use professional font. Make sure that your font size is appropriate. You don't need size 14 if you don't have much, and you certainly shouldn't use size 10 or 9. Hitting a page that no one can read or hitting a page that just looks clownish because it's so large is not going to do you any favors. So font no smaller than size 11, and I would say not to go any larger than size 12 for your basic text. Limit the number of your colors. I love having a couple of colors, so highlight colors, accent colors, I think that's great. It shouldn't look like the rainbow, so try to keep it consistent, well-themed, and, designed appropriately. Review. Get feedback on your resume. Get feedback on your LinkedIn profile. Get feedback on literally anything that you do if you can. However, I will tell you, and sorry, parents, guardians, siblings, y'all are probably not the best folks to give that review on the resume. And I'll say that because I know that, for example, my dad thinks I'm the best thing since sliced bread, and if I gave him my resume, he would not be looking at ways to make it better. He would spend the whole time going, oh my goodness, look at all of this amazing things you've accomplished. I'm so proud of you. You want someone that you trust. However, you want someone who is really aware of what you're trying to accomplish and isn't afraid to give you that feedback of how to improve it. So make sure they're invested with you, but they're not so invested that they're not going to give you great feedback. And then adjust your resume based on what you're applying for. This probably isn't terribly relevant for you guys at this point in your career, but as you grow, different opportunities are going to come for you, or be available to you. They're probably going to come for you like they kidnap you, but they're going to come available for you. For example, my background is technical. However, I moved very quickly into management. So if I was applying for a role that was heavier in technology, I would put emphasis on my resume on everything that was highly technical. And it's not that I wouldn't list my management experience, I just wouldn't make it the focal point. And if I were going for management versus technical, that strategy would be reversed. So just being deliberate. Bad information, bad spelling, old information, ugly, irrelevant, bad grammar. All of these are reasons for me to toss your resume. And I don't want to sound hateful or mean when I say that, but I spent a long time hiring developers in a Fortune 500 company, and I will tell you I did this all the time. So this actually happens. It's not just me giving you tough advice. Please make sure your resume is ready, and that approval process or review process is really going to help. Teachers are amazing at reviewing resumes, and INTERalliance of Greater Cincinnati is always willing to review your resume or your LinkedIn profile, so you can always reach out to us as well. All right, we're going to play Jeopardy next. I'm going to show you a few resumes. I'm going to give you just a few seconds, and then I'm going to shout out a few things that could be improved on them. All right, I'm hoping that most of you noticed right off the bat that this font is not the most professional font ever that could be used. So at the first glance, I would recommend and suggest that they change the font. I would also say that hotstuffbaby54389202 at yahoo.com, not going to get very many responses at that email looking for a professional job. So I would have recommended that get changed. I would recommend the font is changed. Another thing that might be a little nitpicky is that all of the work history is actually backwards. It's good practice to put the work history in order from most recent to, the oldest. So I would have changed that. Her objective is very weak, looking for a full-time job, and I have skills that make me an ideal candidate. However, no skills are listed on this resume, so I'm not sure how that's possible or what skills they are. And then lastly, her volunteer experience is nonsense, right? You don't volunteer by donating stuff to a thrift store. That's not how that works. All right, same thing, going to give you a few seconds and then we will discuss. All right off the bat, it looks significantly better just from a design perspective. It calls out her LinkedIn profile at the bottom and says, I've got more work experience, I've got more skills, go check it out. So I'm loving that. The color scheme, I actually don't mind. I think it just uses a couple of colors, so that looks fantastic. The dates are better because they're in order. However, I would say that this resume is lacking a couple of things. Number one, there's no contact information. So other than just contacting her through LinkedIn, which is not okay, you can't get a hold of Joanna. So I don't know if that means that she just didn't want to post her hot stuff baby email address or what, but you can't contact her. And then also, as much as this is a cute little flare, unless she is applying for a job where she gets to play guitar while riding a bike and doing design and then writing stories about it, she's probably, this is not relevant information to include on a professional resume. All right, one more and then we'll discuss. All right, so this resume is obviously not a Joanna resume, but it definitely takes a step up when it comes to professionalism. I think the design looks really fantastic. You don't get to give the same level of critique when it comes to dates and those items, but the font is much better. There's contact information. It very clearly lays out skills and then even has this nice little slide of what the main tech skills are. So this is great. I will say that from my perspective, knowing that unfortunately a lot of people still print, this resume would be a pain because it prints on all of this black ink. So I would encourage you not to have completely dark resumes if you're going to provide them and you're expecting folks to print. And remember, it is always good practice to show up at an interview with copies of your resume, so even you will have to print this. So that's really all there is to it. Once you are building your resume, really sit down and have a brain dump of all of your things. From step one, I wouldn't worry so much about formatting. Just get it all out there, get it organized, and then you can find great formats. There's always templates available in Microsoft Word. You can find great templates on the internet in various places. If you've got a great hand at design, you can always try it yourself as well. But there are a ton of options to help you get the content visually appealing. It is up to you to make the content, and there's a train, appealing in terms of the actual content. So is it, do you have skills? Are you talking about all of that volunteer experience? Are you talking about the previous experiences that you have? All of that is going to help you build that personal brand, partner that with your LinkedIn profile, partner that with your personal engagement at the interview and other interactions, and you have one heck of a personal brand. And it's just the beginning of your success in technology. Again, my name is Heather Ackles. I am the Executive Director of INTERalliance of Greater Cincinnati. There is another video on building your personal brand, so please go check that out. And if you need anything at all in terms of career readiness as a high school student, look us up online, www.interalliance.org. All of our services are free, and we can help you out with pretty much anything. Have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of the engagements, the interactions.